All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the extended Q&A. Jim and Badru into the room now, and then we'll be able to take some more questions for you guys. All right. And in the meantime, looks like we have some great members of the audience that would like to join us up here as well. So I'll start letting some folks in to join me and Jim up on stage. Sorry guys, just trying to get Jim and Badru in here. Should only take another minute or so. In the meantime, while you guys are in the chat, if you want, you can write about your own favorite small cats. So today you heard about the African golden cat, but I'd love to hear from some of the folks in the audience. What are your favorite small cats that Jim had mentioned briefly? Have you seen any in your entire life? We'd love to hear from you guys too. I love Valerie's answer. It's impossible to pick a favorite. All cats are special. That's true. I think for now I could take some questions from Anwisa. Anwisa Mishra, she actually wrote, how important do you think it is to introduce conservation awareness in schools for kids to understand the importance? I think Jim, when he gets on stage, would absolutely agree that I think teaching conservation education in schools is of utmost importance. And you saw some examples of that in his presentation with the Name a Marmot Day. But all around the world, the Small Cat Wildcat Conservation Foundation works with partners that they really focus on education. Badru himself is always working with the local community to educate them on golden cats. And we saw, I mean, even Rasan, who lives in Kenya and is a conservationist herself, said that she'd actually never even heard of the African golden cat. So it's clear that even within our own communities, we're all still learning about these species. Yeah, let me try to get these folks up on stage, really. All right, looks like Jim Sanderson is active in the chat box. Trying to get him up on stage. All you have to do is hit that, if you want to join us on stage, hit that orange button at the top of the screen that says share your audio and camera. But for now, feel free to type in the chat with Jim. Jim, Deanna Nielsen has a request for you. She was wondering, here he comes up on stage. Hey, Jim.
Am I on?
You're on, so the birthday boy disappeared for a little party.
Yeah, we work with kids to change the future, and we work with adults, of course, to change the present. So that's the strategy.
And Jim, we had a question from Deanna Nielsen. She said, she saw a small cat once peeking on us during a meal at a camp while on safari in Botswana. It was small with a face and was a sandy color. Do you have any idea what it could have been?
African wildcat.
Still
Without a doubt, absolutely no question, African wildcat. You might have been able to see a black-footed cat, but it would be nocturnal, and you were probably not out in the middle of the night.
All right. Well, so thanks, Jim. We have now joining us on screen is Antoinette and Carol and Jim. Do you guys have any questions for Dr. Jim Sanderson?
Yeah,
Just
please
listening.
ask.
Antoinette, we'll let you go first.
No, I have no questions. I'm just listening.
How about you, Carol?
Me too. I'm just listening.
All right. So let's see. I'll pull some questions from the chat then, Jim. One of them was, what can people who are not a part of these wonderful organizations do to aid beyond just the monetary conservation, but to aid the messages that you have to spread?
Well, of course, I'm often asked this by students who want to study the cats. But my question to them always is, what foreign languages do you speak? Do you speak Hindi so that you can help my colleagues in India? Or do you speak Tamil so you can work with my colleagues in Sri Lanka? Or how about Mongolian so that you can work in Mongolia to spread the word? And unless you can speak those languages, it's very difficult to make change in these countries. So the best thing that we can do is support our colleagues in those countries by helping them. And that is, through donations, but perhaps through other
Jim
projects.
for just a sec. But I think he was trying to say the best thing we could do is really to try to communicate with the local people to boost their voices. So if you can speak the language of the local people that you're trying to help and support, that's really the best thing you can do.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
No. Jim is frozen on my screen. Not sure if the audience can still see and hear him. Okay, great. If you can hear Jim well, then I'll keep going. So Jim, another question for you.
Yes.
Cheryl Schroeder asked, so in order to mitigate the conflict between poachers and people trapping for food, we basically need to get food to these people to end their need for trapping for bushmeat. Is that right? Would you agree?
Yes, and the way we do that in Uganda is by supplying them with piglets. And we have an arrangement with the people that when we supply piglets, they'll stop poaching, raise the piglets, and then piglets, of course, grow up to be pigs, and they produce more piglets. And the agreement is that they'll spread those piglets to their neighbors. And the women of the village, all the women know what's going on, know who the poachers are. The poachers readily identify other poachers, and we can make sure that everyone is in our piglet program. In India, in Sri Lanka, we have a goat and chicken bank. So if a leopard kills a goat or a fishing cat kills a chicken, the people go to the goat and chicken bank that's run by a local school teacher and ask for a goat or a chicken. It's all based on trust. There is no guard, there is no stick. But at the end of the year, we had more goats and more chickens than when we started with. So we asked the people of the village to spread the program to another village. It's based on trust, it works, and the women of the village know what's going on, they know who's cheating, and the peer pressure is immense not to cheat.
It reminds me of the old saying, you catch more flies with honey, right?
Yes, and we don't give people food, we show them how to raise food by starting them off. And then they help us spread the program to other villages. In fact, we had a woman who came to us and said, her life was meaningless, but if she could spread these pigs and spread these goats and chickens to other villages, it would add meaning to her life. So people are willing to help. They see the value of a program that helps people. And it's not based on guards and it's not based on a stick. It's based on the carrot.
I love that. And I'm trying to pull in Bob Drew now, so he should be joining us soon. But Jim, another question for you. So, and this is actually from Lucas Mears with the Okapi Conservation Project. So I think his project could probably learn something from this pig bank project as well. He was wondering, can the pigs actually reproduce fast enough to keep up with the demand for meat locally?
If Badru's on, he could answer that.
He's not yet. He should be.
Okay, so we give the people piglets, and it takes a little while, of course, for the pigs to grow up. But they use them at their discretion, so they can eat them or they can sell them. But they know, everybody knows that if you sell your only piglet, that's the end of your chance to make your life better. So, but they get all that stuff. I mean, they know all that stuff, and we're willing to. If people say the village needs 25 pigs, we'll give 50. We want to show goodwill, and we want to trust in the people.
Yeah, so that they have a good perspective of conservation and they trust you. That's amazing. All right, we got this question a few times in the main chat as well. I'm sure you get this all the time, Jim, but what species of small cats right now would you say is really in most urgent need of research or conservation work? Are there any that's the most extremely or critically endangered at the moment?
Well, Southeast Asia is a hotbed of oil palm destroying habitats. So the flat-headed cat is probably the most threatened cat on the planet. And the reason is it's a very small cat, no more than 5 pounds, and it eats fish and frogs in lowland wetlands. And lowland wetlands and peat swamp forest are the first ones to be replaced by oil palm. So those habitats are disappearing rapidly. So flat-headed cat is the most threatened cat on the planet. We don't need more research to know that. We need more conservation.
Yeah, I love your point you always make about conservation being a social science. There's only so much that research and writing papers can do. So it's really great that your foundation focuses so much on that.
Yeah, we focus on, when I went to Chile, here's an example. When I went to Chile in 1996 to study the Huina, we knew nothing about this cat. There was one picture of one living individual on the side of a tree. And I looked at 6 skins that had been collected in 1919 at the Smithsonian. And I went to Chile and I asked people if they'd ever seen this cat. And they said, yes, there's a little cat. And when it eats our chickens, we kill it. Well, that was the end of my research program to begin with. I knew immediately what to do. I needed a hammer, a saw, nails, and some chicken wire. And I started fixing hen houses. And for the first 3 months that I was in Chile, all I did was fix hen houses. Now, remember, this is a cat that is totally unknown, but I knew enough to reduce the threats, that is, build better chicken houses. And then once I did that, I stopped the killing of the cats. And all of a sudden, people are saying, hey, your little cat is coming around. We're putting out a little bowl of food and we saw it, it ate some. And why don't you study it here? So you see, we don't need to know anything. We need to know the threat. That's what we need to do. And we need to mitigate that threat. But you'll hear all the time, we need to know more about the cat. Conservation, as Tommy said, is a social science. We work with people to reduce threats to the cats. The cats can take care of themselves. Just leave them alone and make sure everyone else does.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
I agree. Well, thank you, Jim. Unfortunately, we're reaching the end of the extended Q&A, but you're welcome to just reply to some folks in the chat box. But we'll be turning off our camera so that folks can go back to the main stage to see the last 2 presentations of the day, which is koalas and painted dogs.
Yeah, set up a time, set up an appointment to talk to me.
Yeah, you guys, if you need Jim's email, we'll write it in the chat box. And please feel free to reach out to him. He's always available to talk to people that want to help small cats. So
yeah, sign up for a talk.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And Jim, I think just for folks to see a bit more of you personally for your birthday, You want to tell them what you got planned for after Expo today?
Well, after Expo, I plan to do a half marathon just to release all my pent up stress. But I'm really looking forward to this half marathon that I'm going to do. Nobody's going with me. I just run out along the Rio Grande, and I'm really looking forward to it. I have my running shoes on right now.
And he's not joking, people. For those who think Jim might be cracking a joke, he's serious. He's been running miles and miles every day.
I think I'm late for the party, Tommy.
That's okay,
You're
Bobby.
late for the party. That's okay. Maybe, Badru, any last words from you for the folks in the audience?
Thank you,
No,
Jane.
Yeah, I think thanks everyone for the questions and for the big feedback and for the thoughts and ideas. We really appreciate that. Very interesting questions. Jim has handled them very, very well. But again, we are happy for everyone's support, and yeah, let's see how things go. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, Badru, and thank you, Jim.
Talk to you and Hazel later, Badru.
Yeah, sure, please. We are waiting.
All right. Cheers,
let's
guys.
talk about the pigs and the mobile dental clinics.
We will. Cheers, Badru.
Yeah. Cheers. Bye.
Bye, guys. Happy birthday, Jim.
Thank you.